What's going on, everyone, in Codex land? It's me, J-Dub, with Uncle Gary for a very, very new series we're starting, which is Top 10. Now, guys, if you guys like this content, letting you know now, this is going to be a membership-only series. Guys, go check out our memberships. Relatively cheap. If you guys want this kind of content and other shows that will be coming on to the membership as well, go check it out. But we're giving you a free taste.
Yep.
Free tastes are always great, Uncle Gary.
we're gonna have a free taste. The first one's free. After that, we'll see. But then again, hopefully they'll enjoy the taste. If they don't like the taste, then
and they'll find something else.
They'll find something else to taste.
We got so much for you guys to watch. So
absolutely,
start anywhere. But this is going to be our new show, Top 10, and today's episode is Top 10 members of the Justice League, and we're going to be ranking them 10-1. And with that, I'm going to kick this off. And I'm going to go with my number 10, Uncle Gary.
All right.
My number 10 is the one, the only nuclear man himself. I got Firestorm.
That's a good choice.
He just needed to be on this list. I think he is probably the most underrated leaguer ever.
Well, he's certainly powerful. Now, are you going with Ronnie Raymond or Jason Rush?
Ronnie Raymond.
Okay, that's classic. That's traditional. I want to say Firestorm joined in JLA 179. I may be wrong on that, but
I think you are right.
I think that's what I want to say. So that is he was a cool addition to the team. I was picking these books up off the rack when he joined the team. So
I know.
Back in the day,
I wish I was in your shoes seeing this.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to say that cover where they introduced him was a Jim Starlin cover.
Yes, Starlin on DC is the best.
Yeah. All right. Ronnie Raymond, solid choice.
All right. What you got for number 10?
Oh, I'm going with a fella that he joined the Justice League in issue number 16. I'm going with the Mighty Might, the Atom. Ray Palmer.
You know what the best part was?
What?
He was my number 11.
He was your 11th?
He was my 11.
Oh, Ray Palmer. There he is. He's small, but he's important. He's a big-time scientist. And Ray Palmer is my number 10. The Atom, who was the actually the ninth member to join the league. So he is in my top 10.
Nice. That's a great start. Because like I said, that was my number. It was hard not to have him in my list. It broke my heart.
Trust me. To have Ray?
Yeah. Not to have Ray, because every time you think about it, every iteration of Ray Palmer is just he was there. Like
one day on the podcast, I'm going to recommend that the fellas read the Grant Morrison run of JLA, and I want to say it's number 38.
Before Morrison went crazy, right?
Yes. Well, it's kind of in the midst of it, but he did an issue that focused on the Atom, and they were fighting Amazo, and the Atom kind of saved the day, and it's just an incredibly great issue. So it's a single issue that can be read at once, and so it'll highlight Ray Palmer as one of my favorite Ray Palmer stories.
Okay, great. Well, let's shoot on to our number 9s.
Number 9. Can't wait to see what you got.
Number 9, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate from my number 9, but at number 9, I have one of the Trinity, and she is a beast. I got Wonder Woman. I feel like everyone has her on the top of their list no matter what. I knocked her down just a little bit because I feel like there's more reasons. But to me, God, Princess, it's just, she is the powerhouse that we need on the team no matter what. She is the calm head, except for maybe one issue, which we don't talk about. Yep. She's the voice of reason, and she is always going to be there. And my favorite version of her was from New 52. That whole Greek mythology, everything behind it, it's just amazing.
Wonder Woman is a great choice. She should be in any incarnation of the league. And Wonder Woman also, now, she is more emotional, especially in combat, than Superman is. Superman's much more calm and reserved. Wonder Woman is a warrior princess. Yes. So where she has got compassion and love, you do not want to cross her. You
Oh
know,
no,
yeah,
push.
just like we discussed on our Power Girl episode a few weeks ago or last week, Power Girl knocked her into Canada,
Yeah,
knocked her to a whole nother country. Wonder Woman came back and beat Power Girl. She's not, Power Girl was stronger than her, but Wonder Woman is a more complete fighter and technician and actually beat Power Girl. So Wonder Woman is is a blockbuster fighter. And so that's always a great choice.
yeah, but the way she like, even if you look at the new 52 iteration of Justice League, or you look at uh Injustice or anything else in that matter, she's always the one that can calm Clark, or she's the one that can
Right.
calm Bruce. She's that glue between the Trinity that she holds everybody together,
I
and it
agree
works
with
well
that.
in the league as well.
I agree with that.
So who do you got for number 9?
Number 9. Well, this fella, he's the 10th member of the Justice League. And, as you'll find out, I'm doing a lot of traditional stuff.
Yeah.
He joined in issue 31, I believe it is, The Riddle of the Runaway Room, and he flew into league membership. Oh, Qatar Hall, Hawkman,
You're
right?
killing me, Uncle Gary. He was
There
my
you,
number 12.
there you go. Well, see, I'm giving them love you didn't. And this version is Qatar Hall, the Thanagarian.
Yes.
Right? The Thanagarian cop who's here on the planet Earth with his wife Shiera, who is also a cop from Thanagar. I love this character. Hawkman is a tank. He is just a tank.
Oh,
He is
he's
just
just
a
a beast. Like, it
bulldozer.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's got the ancient weapons and the bad attitude, and he is a no nonsense kind of guy. So Hawkman, I mean, he does. He wears this in space. He doesn't even need anything else in space. He's got a real little thin membrane suit, I think, that that he wears maybe, and that's it. But Hawkman and the ninth medal that he wields, he is a important member of the league, and he looks so damn cool.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember one of my favorite iterations of him, and I don't know why, was the Death of Hawkman. I think it was issue 2, where Adam Strange shows up and he sees him, and Hawkman's just butt naked, chugging a bottle of Jack, being like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Like, throws it aside, glass breaks everywhere. He's like, "We got a war." I was like,
Yeah.
"That's a guy." Even like another iteration I always bring it up is Injustice, when he got the what do you call it, the kryptonite infused mace,
Yes.
and started beating the brakes off of Superman.
Yep.
That was insane.
Oh, he's a credible character. It's kind of like it's not quite canon, but Tim Truman did a Hawk World miniseries.
Yes.
Amazing. It ended up being a series after, but that 3-issue mini, I
Mm-hmm.
recommend anybody reading that. And that is heartbreaking too. That
Yeah.
is a heartbreaking miniseries. So it's not canon, but it is worth reading. But Hawkman flies into my heart as my number 9 member of the Justice League.
Awesome. Well, on to number 8. And everyone's a boy at heart, but this hero literally is. And number 8, I have Shazam, Billy Batson. Oh, God. When you think about Superman, you think about how he's affected by magic and his own abilities, and Shazam's just that.
Yep.
The times they fought, and even Superman couldn't, hold his own against him. It was amazing to see, and to have him be in different iterations where the league trusts him to take on being a mentor to the younger, like Titans or Young Justice, because obviously it's Billy.
Right.
It is just great, and his power set just amazing, and how he was used throughout basically New 52. I'm gonna bring that black because that's my favorite line. And he was a beast in New 52. And the power of Shazam. It great. He needs to be a league member. He needs to stay a league member. I don't know why they keep taking him off.
Well, I like Shazam a lot. I like Billy's innocence, right?
Yes.
Shazam is so sincere. He's a little bit innocent, and even though yes, he's got the magic thing over Superman, I think where Superman gets him is Superman is a better combatant, and he's a
Yes.
little more hardcore when he needs to be. Where
He knows
Shazam,
how to pull back and let loose.
yeah, Shazam he's just a little more naive, and sometimes that hurts him sometimes, especially battling certain villains, where he's not as hardcore as he needs to be because he's still a kid.
Mhm.
He's still got that mentality of a kid, but it's a great character. I was so excited last year when I got that Wiz Comics number 10,
Yeah.
from 1940, which was the ninth appearance of Shazam. So, or Captain Marvel, which is what he
Right.
truly was. He was Captain Marvel. So I think that's a great pick. I've got no, and we're going to see you're a little more unconventional, but
Mhm.
people who have been members of the league, I'm walking down the traditional pathway.
Yeah.
And in that vein, my pick for number 8 was the first member added after the original 7, and that was in JLA number 4, the Doom of the Star Diamond, and that would be the Emerald Archer, Green Arrow. So Oliver Queen is my number 8 Justice Leaguer. Great, great addition to the team, especially in later years where he became more of a voice of the people,
Yeah.
instead of just another rich guy with an arrow car and an aeroplane and an arrow cave. He became a man of the people when he lost his fortune, and he was he was living his life like most of us live it, where we don't have great means, and he was standing up for the little guy. And at times he was the guy that was keeping an eye on the great powers around him in the league, making sure that they were seeing that they weren't, making sure that they weren't acting above everyone, that they were making sure that they had the little guy's best interest in heart all the time too, and they weren't above it all. Sometimes, he was their voice of reason. And I think in the JLA Unlimited thing, there was an episode, Who Watches the Watchmen? He
Yeah.
watches the Watchmen. He makes sure that these gods that walk among us are still in touch with us.
Yeah,
And
they're still humanized in a way.
yes, absolutely. So Green Arrow, Oliver Queen is my guy, and the older school Oliver Queen, not
Mhm.
the new rich boy that lost his money. The older
And
school,
not
the
not the
older,
not the not the Bruce Wayne
yeah,
Green Arrow.
right, exactly. So that's my Oliver Queen,
All
and,
right.
and
Well,
and I do dig it when he uses something like the punching bag
oh,
arrow
I love
or
every
the
time.
the, the
Punching bag
boxing
arrow is
glove
my
arrow,
favorite.
the boxing glove arrow. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
the boxing glove arrow. But especially I just love when people make fun of him and they're like, "You got a cave for all your stuff," and they're like, "Why don't you call it like the quiver or something?" He's like, "Why didn't I think of
yeah,
that?"
right, exactly. Oh,
But I'm gonna make
Green
this look
Arrow.
easy.
Segue Green Arrow, who will be our comic character of the week this coming week.
Yes, it is. I was about to bring that up.
Yep,
But
good
thank you
job.
for segueing, which leads into another segue, which is number 7, which I don't have to say much more about because number 7's Green Arrow.
Oh, good choice. Smart choice. I thought you might go a different direction and put it as Speedy or Arsenal, because he
No,
was on that team for a while.
Roy was up. Roy was like, because I had a long list.
Yeah.
I had about 40, and I had to dwindle it down to 10.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Wow.
I was picking people that I loved reading, like watching and
Did you
seeing
have
growing.
Did you have Congo Rilla on your list?
No, I did not, but I had Blue Devil.
Okay, that was fun because that Congo Rilla was pretty fun when he
I
was
even
on.
had Aztec on mine.
Aztec. Great, good job.
So, but yeah, number 7. I mean, it's basically the same reasons. He humanizes gods and makes
Yes,
them realize what they're doing, and their approach isn't what is needed sometimes,
he also had a long running feud with Hawkman that was
which
great
is
because
hilarious.
yeah, here he was the anti-establishment guy, and Hawkman was like one of the ultimate cops, and
Yeah.
they just did not mesh
My
well.
favorite thing between them, though, no matter how bad it got, the one thing that always put them together, Ollie's chili.
Yes, well, yeah, well, Ollie's Chili beat many of them to the ground.
Yeah.
Hurt a lot of them. But they would brave it anyway. But yeah, Ollie's Chili. I have an issue of God, I think it's a JLA 80-page giant, and they have a recipe for
Yes,
Ollie's
I have that.
5-alarm chili.
They have it in Green Arrow's 80th anniversary as well.
Okay, it's probably in there too. Nice. And you know what? Did you get that 80th anniversary special?
Yeah.
That was my favorite book of that year. There were like 4 stories in there that were amazing. There was Mike Grill doing Green Arrow again.
Mm-hmm.
The final story was the Denny O'Neil tribute. It had
Yes.
no words. It had pictures. And Denny O'Neil, who was, in my mind, the greatest writer ever did that character. And then there was a story with Oliver Queen training with Wildcat that was fantastic. fantastic.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was great. He had no idea Dinah had sent him there to help him improve his boxing, and he did not know who he's getting in the ring with. And matter of fact, as he's walking in, Batman is walking out and makes a snide comment. Yeah, how's the Arrow Cave?
Yeah.
Like that. So because he was just copycatting him with everything he does, but he gets, and he's like, "What's Batman doing training with this guy?" And then Wildcat, Ted Grant's just killing him, and then he
Yeah.
figures out that you didn't
Ted
tell me it
Grant,
was
I would not
Wildcat.
even want to stand with. I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah. And Wildcat says, he's got a good heart. He's got a good right hand. I guess it's from pulling that bow all the time. But he needs work on his footwork and protecting his ribs and this and that. And I punched him in the ribs. I didn't want to damage that pretty face for you. And
Right.
Dinah said, "Thanks for that." So that was great. Great character, great choice.
Yes. So who do you have at 7?
At 7. All right, now we're in the original 7, baby. This guy, he's a little lower on my list than the other 7 because there were long periods of time where he did not appear as a league member. He issue 70 from issue 71 was his last appearance of this is the original league, and he didn't appear again until issue I want to say 115, which is one of the 100 pages, and then after that he didn't appear for a long time again. But he is very important in a lot of ways. He is the heart of the league, and that is John Jones, Martian Manhunter. So this fella right here, he was one of the original 7. And of the original 7, Superman and Batman were a bit detached. It was really the other 5 that were, the stories of the early team really centered around. But John Jones is a great character, and you talk about a power set. Strong as Superman. He can turn invisible. He can change his shape. He's got, vision powers. This guy is, he can fly. This is the real deal. And he's a telepath. So John Jones, great character, the Martian Manhunter. I'm glad that when Grant Morrison and them relaunched the league, that he was a big part of that league because he is important to the league history. And it's a shame he was forgotten for, so many years there, in the Justice League in the original run. Like I said, from 71 to probably issue 140, he only appeared probably 4 or 5 times. And then, I'm sorry, from 71 to issue 240, he only appeared, sporadically. So it's nice to have him back as part of the league. After that, of course, he is a big part of the league again, especially the JLI that had Booster and Beetle and all that, where they reestablished him as a great part. And you know what? I think we can overlook his addiction to Chacos. It's okay.
I have an addiction to Chacos.
Yeah. So I think we can all emphasize that he can have that addition to Chacos. So that's my guy.
Oh, God. Well, we're going to make this easy. Number 6 is Martian Manhunter for me.
Oh, there we go. I keep stealing your thunder. I'm sorry.
You keep. It's not the thunder. You just made it easy for me. I don't have to go with a long spiel or anything. Just no fire and no bad. Chaco's good. Yes.
Yes. There you go. Fire bad. Chaco's good. That's right.
Yeah. So number 6 for me, I got Martian Manhunter 2, and I got even like if you look at even the TV series growing up, for most people that was their first iteration of their 7, and Martian Manhunter was that prime guy. Like he was there. He was always watching over everybody. He was always putting people where they needed to be. Always knew their strategic abilities and where to place them at the time of need. So, yeah, for me, number 6.
And he could be a tether too. He could link them mentally.
Yeah, and they can all talk to each other and actually coordinate what they were doing.
Absolutely.
So who do you got for number 6, Uncle?
All right, number 6. Now, this was painful for me to put this fella here because he's my favorite character. But in the pantheon of what I think historically, I really think 4, 5, and 6 are almost interchangeable.
Yeah.
But God, I'm still gonna put him there. It could be interchangeable.
You're looking at it like I gotta move this.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, where do I do this? I'm gonna I'm still gonna put him there. It's Aquaman, my favorite character. I love Aquaman. King of Atlantis. He is also like Hawkman a tank. He is super strong from the for what it takes to withstand the pressures of the depths of the oceans. That's got him very dense with his musculature. Bullets bounce off of him. The high caliber shells won't, but the just normal bullets will bounce off of him. He is his telepathic abilities with the sea life, and also I know um, there was an alien race that was attacking the JLA, and because they were evolved from sea life, he was able to shut their brains down,
Yeah.
which was pretty powerful. And he doesn't have the telepathic abilities that John has, but he can still link out to his fellow leaguers in a much more rudimentary way. But he can still link to them. He's a king of Atlantis. He's a natural born leader. He's somebody they can depend on. He's a he's a bit of a. I loved him in the Grant Morrison JLA where he's a real hard ass. That's when he had the hook for a hand.
Oh yeah, when they tried them, it wasn't trying to make him relevant. It was trying to make him cool with the readers.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, we're trying to get rid of that super friend stigma of always the guy that talks to
yeah,
fish. You can't
it's
do
the guy in
anything.
the steel horses, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Which is the reason why Jason Momoa was hired to be him in the movie,
Yeah.
because again, the general public consensus is this is a character you make fun of. The comics had
Even
moved.
even Jason Momoa was making fun of it when he's like, "Who do you want me to be?" And Snyder's like, "Aquaman." He goes, "What? No." He goes, "Blonde hair, blue eyes. That's not me." And
Yep.
he goes, "No, we're changing that. Make
Yep.
Aquaman a metalhead, a rock and roll star. Every
Yep.
kid wants to grow up to be."
Exactly, and that worked to get the public perception of the guy in the that talks to fish in the orange suit. But in the comics, he had already moved from that. I mean,
Yes.
they'd already made him a badass in the comics. Peter David with the hook hand and all that, and then what Jeff Johns did with him in this traditional outfit,
Yes.
he was
I think Jeff
badass in
Johns
that.
brought him light, especially when he like raised every shark and killer being in the
Yep.
water and brought him to the surface. He's like, "This is what I can do."
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So this is a great character, founding member of the league, and at one top point, he disbanded the league during the Justice League Detroit era. He disbanded the league because the other founders weren't there after the Martian War, and he had John Jones as his lieutenant, and they ran the league from Detroit because he felt they had gotten away from what their mission is, and that's to protect the people of Earth and not be this above it all in the satellite group that wasn't watching carefully when the Martians were trying to invade. So Aquaman's my guy. I do believe 4, 5, and 6 could be interchangeable, but I just didn't want to let my bias show, and because I'm not doing my favorite, I'm doing what I think is the greatest iteration of the league and the importance of the characters historically. So that's how I'm basing this list. So
And I'm leaning more towards who should be a prominent player in the league.
Yep.
All 10 of these could be in there without even having an issue.
Right, absolutely, because our parameters, we're picking the top 10, but our parameters are a little different, which is fine. That's fine. That's exactly what we're doing. I just chose to do mine from a more historical importance level because I think you all got me on this channel to bring that perspective.
Bring that heat.
That's what I'm bringing. That's the perspective I bring to this. So that's kind of where I'm falling on this. But Aquaman, my favorite character. He is he's number 6, but it could be 4 or 5 easily. So Arthur Curry, you rock, buddy.
No, I definitely agree. I am going to go back in time, though, a little bit to where my picks were different than yours. And at number 5, I'm going to go with the speedster himself, Barry Allen.
Good choice. Great choice.
So for me, Barry Allen plays a big role in my life. Just to start off, my best friend, his dad was a big Barry Allen fan. Had everything. My escape into comics was my start was basically through him. But you talk about history. Barry is the history. Like every incarnation of crises or any type of time travel or anytime you think of a major event that's happened through the JLA has been Barry Allen. And most iconic saying, "Run, Barry, run." throughout all of comics has been great. And being the first to see Earth 2 and working with the Jay Garricks, or seeing
Yep.
other Earths and trying to correlate them, he's brought in the multiverse. He's dominated all of history through DC.
Well,
There's not a moment in time he can't reach.
I agree with that 100%. And just from a historical publication standpoint, Showcase 4,
Mm-hmm.
which introduced Barry Allen, was such an important book that really kicked off the Silver Age of comics, because the superheroes had waned. The popularity of the superheroes had waned. And by 1950, they were pretty much all gone. The only 5 heroes that have been in continuous publication since the 40s are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and Aquaman as backup features. But they were always in continuous publication. They were in some magazines. They were in the back of Detective or World's Finest or Adventure, but they were somewhere. But with Green Arrow and Aquaman. But those 5 heroes are really the only heroes that made it all the way through. Flash Comics stopped at 104 in 1950 or 51. Wasn't published anymore. Showcase 4 comes out in 1956, I believe it was, 56. And they relaunch the Flash character. They use the same powers, they use the same name, but they give him a different costume and they give him a different identity. And Barry Allen is a police scientist. At the time, Julie Schwartz was the editor of DC. And he came from he was a highly respected science fiction editor. So he wanted the heroes to have an origin story that was more of a science fiction origin. And so the lightning bolt, hitting the chemicals and dousing Barry Allen, who was a police forensic scientist, and giving him these great abilities, that was very much into the sci-fi, and scientific, new turn on these origins. But he got so popular so fast, it launched a whole new era of superheroes.
Yeah.
And it was a success. He had 4 tryout issues in Showcase, and then Flash Comics resumed as the Flash with issue 105, continuing the original numbering but dropping the comics and just being the Flash with Barry Allen and his adventures. So without that success of Barry Allen's Flash and Showcase 4, there may never be a Justice League.
No.
And I'm going on a side tangent here.
Go for it.
Because of the popularity of the Justice League of America, without that, there may be no Marvel Universe. So I don't know if you've heard me spin this tale. The great story is that that Martin Goodman, the editor of Marvel and publisher of Marvel,
yes,
and Leibowitz,
was this the golfing trip?
The golf trip editor of
where he ran back and told we need a team, and then the Fantastic Four was born.
So the DC publisher Leibowitz is telling Goodman, oh man, we've got this team, the Justice League of America, it's selling out, it's doing this, it's doing that. Martin Goodman goes back to Stan Lee and says, Stan, we need some kind of superhero team. And at that point, Stan is ready to leave comics. He's very dissatisfied. And his wife tells him, well, why don't you just write a story the way you would like to write a story?
Yeah.
And what he writes is Fantastic Four #1. And the rest is history. The Marvel Universe sprang out of that successful book, then you got, that he was writing a book the way he wanted to write it, and it was different. And it begat Spider-Man, it begat Thor, it begat X-Men, it begat Avengers, all these Iron Man, all these great things came out of that. But if Stan doesn't stay around to write Fantastic Four #1, maybe the Marvel Universe doesn't exist as we know it. I mean, I would say it doesn't. So I tell people the Justice League may be partially responsible for the great, the Marvel Universe, becoming. And if you're going to say that, then Barry Allen is instrumental in the creation of the Marvel Universe, because if that character doesn't catch on, you may not get a Justice League, because after that, when another character we'll talk about soon, I'm sure.
Yeah,
A certain emerald hued character. He also was
possibly.
revitalized with a new sci-fi origin and all that. So, but the genesis of all that was Barry Allen and Showcase 4 and the relaunch of the Flash character. So historically, boom, that was the birth of the Silver Age right there.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I've heard that story so many times, and I just think
It's a great story.
all you MCU fans out there, you're
Yep.
welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome. The
Yeah,
Justice
give
League.
us the DCU, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love the DC. There's room for both, but you may owe the DC and the Justice League a great big thank you.
Yes. So, with that being said, who do you have at number 5?
Number 5, we just talked about him a little bit. Showcase number 22 introduced a new version of the Green Lantern, Mr. Hal Jordan. Here again we have this great character that was given a science fiction origin. I mean, Alan Scott had the magical ring. This guy is sought out to become a member of an intergalactic police force. um, when Abin Sur crash lands and dies, and his ring finds the next most worthy person to take up the mantle, it is test pilot Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan, integral part of the league. When the league formed, he had just started his superheroing career, so he's very new into the being published. But he was an integral part of it. He's a dynamic looking hero, and at the time was one of the most glamorous jobs in America. It was a test pilot.
Yeah.
You had Yeager and those guys, and you had the Mercury 7 astronauts of that era. So being a test pilot was right in the public zeitgeist, where that's what everybody wanted. So he was a cool figure. He was handsome. He was he was a figure. He was a character of the times, and his power set, the man without fear, but to be part of the intergalactic police force. How cool is that? So Hal Jordan, very important to this team. His willpower, his brashness, and his bravery, unquestioned, and a very very integral part of the Justice League of America in all its incarnations.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, my favorite hero right there.
Yep.
Hands down, I can't say any more other than the fact that, yeah, he was part of that Jeff Johns run. That was my prime years of reading. That was the best era, I think, of comics, other than probably your era around there. But I think that there was no missing. And
Blackest Night was one of the greatest epics ever told in comic history, as far as I'm concerned.
and the best part was that was when tie-ins mattered.
Yes, and every tie-in was good. It wasn't a cash grab.
No,
Every single one of those Blackest Night tie-ins was a great story. It was fantastic.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Titans,
The
Batman.
Teen Titans one where Jonathan Kent is protecting Martha Kent. Jonathan and Crypto are protecting Martha Kent in Smallville. God, those were great stories. Oh
No.
man! But the whole thing, every tie-in with that was phenomenal and worth
even
buying.
like his showcases to hard traveling heroes, all of that. I don't feel like DC would be a powerhouse without him.
Again, it was a great addition. To revitalize Flash and Green Lantern in that era was like a great 1-2 punch.
Yes,
it was a great 1-2 punch.
You had both rebirths. I don't know if they were simultaneous. Weren't they a little bit of apart?
In what are you talking about? The Silver Age, or are you talking about with the Jeff Johns rebirth?
With the Jeff Johns stuff, rebirth.
There's a little bit of time between them, yes, okay. but that they were both great rebirths then, and in the Silver Age, when they were both relaunched, there were big seminal moments, to relaunch those characters with the great new origins, and it helped, help build this league, that everybody wanted to read stories with these characters in it.
Yeah, but I remember before at one point when Green Lantern, Hal Jordan started tanking, like in sales and everything, they were trying to make him like this powerhouse, like the strongest hero ever. And I remember watching. It was funny because it was right before Ryan Reynolds got the movie. He
Mm-hmm.
did a documentary, and I forgot the guy's name. I got to go back and watch it. But they were trying to make him the strongest hero in DC. And one of the things they wanted was the strongest hero with the strongest female hero. And there was that time when they were trying to set him and Wonder Woman up. And that went through because they were going to start writing it, the storyline for it, but someone sent in a letter saying, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if Hal Jordan got with Wonder Woman?" And they had to scrap the whole idea because of one letter.
Well,
And just to think about what could have changed, like the dynamic of the whole DC universe could be different just based on one letter.
interesting. I'd never even considered them a couple before, so that would have been an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, because back then they were so worried about lawsuits because they didn't have money
Mm-hmm.
that even if someone brought, it's like today, if someone brings it up, you could potentially be like, they stole my idea
Right.
because I have it here, even
Written.
tweeted it to them. You
Yep.
know, it could
Right.
be that. But back then, just sending that letter and that potential lawsuit flipped the script on them and
Well,
kept it the same way.
that would have definitely been an interesting take that I wouldn't have seen coming. That's for sure. Yeah, because I've never seen them as romantic at all.
No.
They're so different, the two characters.
Yes. So move on to number 4.
Number 4 for me.
Number 4 for me because you just had,
Okay, right, because I had Hal Jordan, right?
yeah. And I think I might throw you off here. I think I might throw. This is where the loop happens.
Okay,
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I gotta go, and this isn't a human hero, but he hits like a tornado, and I gotta go Red Tornado at number
I
4.
love Red Tornado.
I loved all iterations. I love the Meltzer run with all of my heart. Like issue 0 to 5 is implanted in my head. That whole series with Tornado was amazing. Anytime you can put Tornado in anything, I am buying it. Just like when we did the episode on Deadman. If you have a Deadman comic, any iteration coming, I want it. He is one of the people that I believe can be a true leader. He eliminates the feeling aspect. He just goes strategically into any battle, knows exactly what's happening. Unless you can take his head off and make him immobile or humanize him in some way, he is the juggernaut that I think should be on every Justice League team imaginable. And it makes me so mad that they do not have him on any of them.
he is very underutilized. Now, for many years, he was a big part of the league, and the Red
Yes.
Tornado, originally was created by T.O. Morrow,
Mhm.
and which is tomorrow, which is kind of silly, but T.O.
Yes.
Morrow created him. And I thought it was brilliant when they revealed that creation. The reason why the tornado was as unique is because there was an old villain they had, I think, in the 17th issue of the original JLA back in the early 60s, the Tornado Tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
That Tornado Tyrant's spirit was kind of infused with the android body of the Red Tornado, and that's why he was more than just a machine.
Yes.
He had like a soul to him. And so I love, even lesser than what you would see of the Red Tornado, you hardly ever saw his identity of John Smith. I mean, he had a wife and he had a child.
He had a whole life.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen it maybe in 5 issues.
Yeah, not much. I know, not much at all. I think he is
And I think those were the most heartbreaking ones, is because he had that, I forgot what issue it was, but it was when he was stuck in his own dream when they were trying to build his body back, and he saw his daughter, and she's like, "You're gonna come play outside with me, Daddy?" And he's like, "On my way, honey." And he woke up. It was just the most heartbreaking moment. Like, you're just like, no, just let him go play with her for a minute.
Of everyone that's been a Justice League member, I would say he's the most underutilized.
Yes.
And underappreciated. Yeah.
I mean, they made him, like, in the show-wise, Young Justice, they made him, like, a prime...
A mentor, which
yeah.
I liked. I liked that a lot. Mentoring the young heroes, absolutely. And it was nice to see him there.
Yeah, like I said, those first 5 issues, and that was actually one of my first Justice League comics.
Yeah.
Like, was issue 0, and he was big in that part too when they were trying to like pick their team.
Yep.
And they're like, "What about Red Tornado?" And they're like, "I think he's going to be the perfect one, but we got to build this team around more than just perfection."
That's right. Well, I think he's a great choice. I think he's always underutilized. So and he'd sacrificed himself for the team on several different occasions.
Yes, and rebuilt
Yep.
more times than you can count.
Right. And originally, and he came over from Earth, he was on Earth 2. And I mean, Earth 1. Yeah, Earth 2. And he came over to Earth 1.
Yeah.
So
what was the original name for him again? What was it? House of Mystery? No.
When he first appeared?
Yeah, his name was like Alfum, or I forgot how to say his name.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what the Tornado Tyrant is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first appearance of that character was JLA 17.
Yes.
Was JLA 17 where they had the Tornado Tyrant. But John, one of my favorite JLA covers of all time, I believe it's JLA 64, and he's in his old costume, and he's punching a table, breaking it right in front of the Justice Society. I love that. I love that cover. I'm sure I did it on Cover of the Day at one point.
I think you did.
It's just a great old cover. I want to say it's 64. But yeah, Red Tornado, I've got no problem there.
All right. Well, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is red. He's red and he can make tornadoes. It's the Scarlet Speedster.
And we're going with Barry?
Yep, going with Barry. Absolutely going with Barry.
A lot of people on our team love Wally, and I have no hate for Wally, but as a member of the league, it's got to be Barry.
Well, when they relaunched the Grant Morrison run, when they relaunched the Flash with Wally and Kyle, that really worked because you had the dynamic of the two of them being the young guns, and they had the old guard around them. And so their interactions with each other and with everybody else was refreshing, and I liked it, and it was fun. But, Barry Allen, again, we already talked about how he kickstarted the return of superheroes into the comic world. Yeah. So just for that, he would make this. But he is an integral member of the league, and he is, there wouldn't be a Justice League without this guy right here. So Barry Allen, the Flash, we love you, baby. He is in my 4 spot.
Okay. Well, at my number 3, we're gonna make this real easy because we've already talked about him. And Hal Jordan. I think Hal is so, even now in comics, he's underutilized. He had his moment of shine in Blackest Night, Brightest Day. He's had a great bunch of arcs those will never go away, ever. Nope. Those will live the test of time. But as of right now, I think he needs to be on the team. He needs to be on a main Justice League title when they re-kickstart Justice League. I think that's what the people need. I think that's what the team needs. You need Hal. Plain and simple.
I'm 100% with that. Hal is, and if you don't have
you
Hal,
need that cockiness.
Yeah, right. Hal is brash. He's cocky. He's the first one that's going to charge in. He's not always waiting to hear what the plan is. But Hal, Hal's just an integral part of that, and he always will be. So he's my Green Lantern. I mean, in any iteration of the Justice League, you need to have some kind of Green Lantern. But Hal is the original JLA member that's a Lantern, and I think he's the best.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, Hal's always going to be mine no matter what. But Kyle's right up there with me. So having one Green Lantern on the team, I would have to go with Hal. Having someone run the corpse, I would go with Kyle. Or John.
So to me, that's John. Yeah. Because John is the military man. He's the architect. He's the builder. So to me, he's the guy to run the Corps for sure. And he's a great leader. Leader.
100%.
Yeah.
So who do you got at 3?
Oh, number 3.
This is where it gets difficult?
No. Doesn't get difficult at all. No. 4, 5, and 6 were the most difficult for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 4, 5, and 6, the order I was going to have Barry, Hal, and Aquaman in. Because like I said, to me, they're kind of interchangeable, all of those. So it was just slight edges. So those were the hardest. The top three aren't hard for me at all. Number three, Amazon Princess, Wonder Woman. She is the warrior in the league. She is love, she is compassion, and she is all warrior. She will kick your ass in a loving and compassionate way. So she is important to the league, and from day one, she was an integral part of that team. From Brave and the Bold 28, she shined in that issue and has never stopped. And the league, the league is lesser when she's not there. She has a regalness about her, even though Aquaman is a king, and he does have a regal air. She is just a true princess that everybody looks up to and admires, and she has a standing and a status that she is more beloved than I think any other member of the league. I think
And
she's
great
yeah,
at number three. Like I said, I had her at 9. I had my reasons,
yep,
but number 3, I can't go historically. I can't go wrong.
yeah.
I'm not going to argue that.
Right. That's right. And again, I was doing mine on a more of a historical bent in what I think were the important members of the league, and she is right there, and she is part of that trinity of in that DC pantheon, and I believe that is a proper spot for her.
Yes, 100%. Like I said, as a historical aspect of it, it's a perfect fit. Trinity at number 3, Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman.
Yep.
I would not. I'm not going to argue that one with you at all. So we're going to go into number 2s. So this is where people are probably going to have their opinions on me. At number 2, Superman.
Okay, that's still very high.
Yeah, but Superman, even though he's a founding member, he's one of the Trinity. Superman to me is just one of those characters that has it all and yet doesn't, if that makes sense. Like, he has all the powers. He has every ability. He can keep up with the Flash. He can, go blow for blow with Shazam. He can take out Martian Manhunter and vice versa if they needed to. But I always feel like he's held back, and I think it's more of his own sense of security than anything else. And you never see him really let loose unless it's like a doomsday or where he knows he's gonna die,
Yeah.
and that's where he lets loose. One of the things that I loved about the Injustice line, I know I keep referring to it, but I remember Wonder Woman literally saying after Lois died, she goes, "This is the scary part now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not holding back, and everyone should be aware and worried."
Well, that's what I think makes him a great character, though, is the fact that he does hold back. And the fact that, the Earth 3 Superman, Ultraman, is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what he would be if he had no morals and did whatever the hell he wanted.
Yes,
And there's nothing they can do with Ultraman. I mean, he just, whatever he says goes. And
exactly.
he is immoral, and he is unjust, and he will kill you just as soon as look at you. The fact that Superman has that much restraint, I think, makes him an even greater hero. That he has all this power, and here he's an alien, but he
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the Midwest in Smallville, Kansas,
Yep.
and is just as wholesome and human as any superhero. Maybe has more humanity than all of them.
Yeah,
And
and
he's
but to
not
me,
he.
there has been times where even in the comics, like you'll sit there and read, and he'll like even the writer going into it will put in there like Superman will lose somebody, and he'll be like, if I would have just
Mhm.
been better or let go a little bit more, I could have saved him.
Yeah,
Like, and it's happened so many times throughout the history of his character. Like, to me, I can see letting loose a little bit and having that restraint to come back because that would make it better for me to
yeah,
see him be like, I've gone almost too far. Let me hold. I'm back now, and have that kind of restraint where he can bring himself back. You know, Whereas now he's just like, I'm just gonna keep myself at this line, and if I know I'm gonna cross it, sorry.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels. It feels like we're missing that part to me. But as overall, as a Justice League member, as a founding member, as one of the people that you don't, when you think of the Justice League, you think of Superman.
Right.
And number 2 for me, he's the perfect spot.
I dig it. I dig it. All right, my second hero is a little bit differently, and I will say this about Superman and this fellow right here, Batman, Bruce Wayne, and this is actually all these came from the Four Horsemen sculpted set, except this guy. I brought in the Jim Aparo Batman.
I know. As soon as I saw it, only
Yeah,
you
yeah,
made me think about Aparo
yeah.
now.
That's the Jim Aparo sculpt right there. So, Batman and Superman, even though they're founding members of the league, they were a bit set apart from the other five, from Manhunter, Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. They were the crux of the team in the earlier tales. And because these guys were starring in their own books, each of them had 2 books, and they also had World's Finest.
Yes.
So they were keeping the other heroes that were less exposed as the main core of that team. But as time went on, they became more and more involved. But now, when you think of the Justice League, you don't think of a version that doesn't have Batman in it. I mean, Batman is, he's the detective. He's the ultimate leader. He is, he is the Justice League's tactician, like Captain America is for the Avengers. So he is the guy with the plan. He's the guy with too many plans, as Tower of Babel showed us.
Yes.
Which was one of the great reads. Too many plans. So much so that he got his butt kicked out of the league when the rest of the members, found out that those were his protocols that Ra's al Ghul had stolen from the Batcave, and how to take out the other leaguers. So his paranoia does him in at times, but you just don't think of a Justice League without Batman. And I'm talking about, not just from the comic sense, but just in pop culture, right? Almost everybody in pop culture knows that Batman's a member of the Justice League. He's one of the guys you think of. During the 60s, when the Batman TV show was on, which almost destroyed this character.
Yeah.
But it was such a big deal. Batman, almost every issue of Justice League had him twice as big as everybody else, right in the front, punching somebody or doing something, that they were riding that Batman wave. So at that point, he was out in front of every issue. But, thankfully, the TV show waned down, and I'm going to say this again. I always say this. If you're a fan of the modern day Batman, you owe Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams a huge debt of gratitude, because they, in the late 60s, early 70s, made him the dark, Avenger of the Night again, and got that goofiness that the TV show had instilled in so many people out. And we started seeing the Batman as a fearsome gothic creature again. And thank God they did that, because that's the modern Batman we all love, So those guys, we owe them a deep grab. But Batman, my number 2 Justice League.
All right. So we're at our number 1s. So I'm gonna give a quick rundown. My 10 to 2.
Yep.
I'll let you do it too when you get to yours.
Yep.
But like I said, again, number 10, I had Firestorm. 9, Wonder Woman. 8, Shazam. 7, Green Arrow. 6, Martian Manhunter. 5, Barry Allen. 4, Red Tornado. 3, I had Hal Jordan. Number 2, I had Superman. Number 1, it's Batman, but not Bruce Wayne. Number 1, I am going with Dick Grayson. Nightwing, Batman. Everybody loves him. Everyone on the team loves him. Even in the newest iteration, you have Superman literally telling him, you are the leader of the new Justice League moving forward. You are everything that we can't be. And just seeing that, knowing that he should have been put on this pedestal long time ago. And he was a member of the Justice League for a while after Bruce Wayne had passed, and he took over the cowl. which I thought was great because that was the Morrison run too, wasn't it?
Well,
Technically,
that I think that was the Rob. I want to say that was the Robinson run, and that's when like Jade was on the team and Donna Troy was on the
yes,
team. I think Arsenal. That was a really good run. Congo Rilla was on that
yeah.
team, and that was a very unique lineup. But that was very entertaining. There was a great Eclipso storyline in there.
Oh yeah, the
Where
return of a return of Eclipso.
yeah, great storyline. Great. I think Bagley was doing the art then too.
Yes,
So
is that
the
Bagley? No.
yeah, that was Bagley art, Tim. But that was a great run, and Dick Grayson was running that team
Mm-hmm.
then.
Even
So
during Blackest Night, he was Batman,
yes,
and he was leading the Robin. That was Damian Wayne,
yep,
and even Damian at one point told him, "You may not be my father, but
you're the best
you,
Batman.
yeah, you're my Batman."
My best friend Mike Harbor, he loves Dick Grayson. It's probably his favorite character,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved that iteration of Batman and Robin with Dick Grayson as Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin. And and it's great. The relationship between Damian and Dick is so good. Damian, the little shit that doesn't give many compliments or
No,
give anybody the respect. He gives Dick Grayson a lot of respect all the time.
and he's the only one I believe that he actually says is his brother.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But and that he looks up to
Mm-hmm.
among the other Robins, or former Robins. But yeah, he gives a lot of deference to Dick Grayson, and that is a wonderful relationship that they have.
Yeah, even in I believe it was the Nightwing 100th issue, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken, when they said we want you to run the new league.
yep,
Batman looked at him and went, "Well, what did you say?" And he goes, "I told him, yeah. But I wanted to talk to you first." And he goes, "I figured you'd say that, so I had this ready for you. You are the true leader of that team." And
yep.
he goes, "Do what I couldn't." And that was like the best line ever because you're like,
Well,
what is gonna happen now?
well, Dick Grayson would be a great leader with them, and he doesn't come with the baggage that Batman comes with.
Exactly.
Yeah, because after Tower of Babel, one of the my favorite moments in Justice League history is when the league voted what to do with him.
And I remember because we did the Plastic Man episode, Comic Character Week, and you're
Yep,
like, yeah, he told him, get him out of here.
get him out of here, and that's the one that brought him into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Plastic Man says, get him out of here. Aquaman's get him out of here. Wonder Woman out of here, and then I think Barry and not Barry, Wally and Kyle and John, John's the Manhunter had said keep him, and then the deciding vote came to Superman, and Batman left before he heard the vote because he knew who was going to vote how,
Yeah.
So I thought that was a great little touch to that too. That he knew exactly how the vote would come down. So, but yeah, that baggage. Dick Grayson doesn't have that baggage that Bruce does.
No,
He's
he
trusted.
doesn't.
He's more trusted.
Yeah, and he's more well respected, especially that he got his name based off Superman and the
Yep.
Nightwings. Like,
Yep.
he watches over everybody.
And Superman has great respect for him too.
Yeah, he's the one that actually
Yep.
had him mentor Jonathan.
Yep.
As
Absolutely.
Superman, and showing him the ropes of what being a hero really is.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's my number one.
All right.
So, want to run through your 10 through number 2 and then tell
Yep.
us who number 1 was?
Yep. Number 10 for me is Ray Palmer Adam. Number 9 is the Qatar Hall Thanagarian character of Hawkman. Number 8 is Oliver Queen Green Arrow. Number 7 is John Jones, the Martian Manhunter. Number 6, my favorite character, Arthur Curry, Aquaman. 5, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. 4, Barry Allen, Flash. 3, Wonder Woman. Number 2, the Bruce Wayne version of Batman. So I know it's no mystery who I'm picking for number 1. The guy I'm picking for number 1, he's pretty prominent. When you think Justice League, like on my shirt, he's right there in the middle. He's charging at you. It's Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman, the Man of Steel. This industry that we love, superheroes, we may not be talking about this if in April, now even though it's cover dated June, but April of 1938, there's a book that shows a guy lifting a car up in red and blue outfit with a cape. And that's Action Comics #1. We may not even be having this conversation
Nope.
if this guy right here isn't depicted on that cover. So he is the face of the league. He is Superman. He is the most important comic character ever created. I don't think that can be disputed or doubted because he is the first. And what he begat is a whole wonderful universe, multi-universes of characters that we love. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
We are here because of this character right here, and he is at the forefront of the Justice League of America. He is Superman. He is the ideal. He is what everyone looks up to. That great big S is, people look at that and are inspired, and that they know that they have a protector. So that's my #1, Superman.
Yeah, and like you said, without him, every time you go like this on Gary, I just want to say, I just think of you holding up a long box. Like, just make yourself stronger.
That's right.
But yeah, strength, powers, everything. I mean, and I might be wrong, so you're my historian on this. Was it issue 37 of Action Comics when they actually had to when they made Kryptonite to depower him a little bit because they felt like he was too overpowered?
I thought it came a little later, but it might be. In the early days, he didn't even fly.
It was leap buildings in a single bound. He didn't have flight.
Yeah, he hopped. So yeah, they created Kryptonite to slow him down. It might have been 37. I was thinking it was a little later, but I'm not 100 on that. I'm not 100. Okay. You may have me on that, but maybe. I'm thinking a little later. But they had to depower him. And then in the early 70s, I want to say it was Superman 237. It's a famous Neil Adams cover where he's busting these chains. Yes. And they had turned all the kryptonite on Earth to lead. And now he had no kryptonite problem. So now the only thing that's affecting him is magic. And that made him really hard to deal with for the writers to write a threat to this guy.
Yeah.
Because, kryptonite became such a great crush for the writers to use on how to make this character vulnerable, because he's a tough character to write, because for something to threaten him, he's so super, so incredibly powered to have any kind of threat that would affect him. So that's why a lot of writers struggle writing that character.
And I agree 100%, because there's few writers that can helm typing that out.
Yeah. Well, just
but
the idea to come up with the villains, with the threats.
But I did find out it was in 1949, Superman issue 61.
Okay, so it was a little later.
It was a little later.
Good job. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I thought that was a little early.
I don't know why 37 is prominent in my head, because I always thought it was 37.
And that was Superman 37 or Action? I mean, Superman 61 or Action?
Superman.
It was in Superman. Yes. Okay. Yeah, because Action had a higher numbering because it started earlier.
Yes.
And Superman appeared on the cover of one with the car over his head. When the publisher, Major Wheeler Nicholson of DC, saw that, he was like, "What in the hell?" He was outraged that they published that cover. He didn't know it was going to come. He thought it was ridiculous.
And now it's homaged on every single cover.
Oh yeah, Superman doesn't appear on another cover until Action 7. It took them that long to realize. It took him issue 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to realize that this book is selling out because it's got a Superman story in it. Mm-hmm. And then he appeared on 7, and after that it was like every other, and then he started appearing on every cover.
Right.
But so it took him. He appears on 1, and then he's not on another cover till 7. So that's why you'll see number 7 is more expensive than 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. But what was it? Action Comics 1, I believe, as of like the other day, sold for $6 million.
Set the new record. Yep.
Yeah, set the new record for an auction style
Yep.
comic.
8.5. It was an 8.5.
That there's like to have that as an 8.5 still.
Yeah.
Oh
Now,
my god.
a few the previous record was
It was 1.23.
well, there was an Amazing Fantasy that it was the highest selling comic before that had set the record I think last year. And to me that's so wrong that it's anything. The highest comic has got to be Action One all the time.
Yeah.
But what had happened was a high value one like this hadn't come on the market, and that was a super high. It was a 9 something
Yeah.
Amazing Fantasy that sold. But to me, it's always got to be Detective 27 or Action One that should be jockeying for it. So I'm very happy that Action One is back in the spot where it belongs. I'll tell you a fun story about a Superman one.
Mm-hmm.
So this was probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago maybe. There's a family, I want to say Pennsylvania, that their house was being foreclosed on, and they had to sell that. They were having to sell their house. They couldn't keep their home, and it was an older home that they had been living in for a while. And
Was this the one where like they found it in the wall?
Down in a desk.
Desk.
There was an old desk that had conveyed with the house, and as they're cleaning it out, in that desk is a copy of not Action One, but Superman #1.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to sell that book and come up with enough money to save their house.
Yeah.
So
Superman
what that
saved
means,
the day again.
Superman saved their house.
Yeah.
Right? It really happened.
Yeah.
Superman
He saved the day again.
Saved their house. So I just think that is a great, great story. And, makes me smile just thinking about that Superman saved their house.
Yeah.
So swooped in like the hero he was.
Just ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go, baby.
Yeah.
So.
Sell me, save yourselves. But real fast, I do want to take this time, like we're going to do in all future episodes as well, and kind of take a moment to talk about one part of what surprised us on the other person's list. And for me, on your list, I am so shocked that Adam was 10. Don't ask me why. I felt like it would go Hawkman for you. It was going to go Hawkman, Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, which I all had on the list for you in my mind, and then it go Adam at 6. I thought he'd be much higher because I knew you were probably going to go with the Trinity or in some form.
So did you think Hawkman was going to be #1, or you thought Hawkman would be?
I thought he'd be 10, and I thought he'd be 10. Okay. Adam was going to jump up to 6.
Yeah, gotcha. Now I tell you what would have been interesting if we'd done a JSA one. Hawkman would have been #1 for me.
Yes, if it was JSA, this whole list would have been
Hawkman. Hawkman was the chairman and in every issue of the original All-Star. But yeah, so you thought I'd have the Atom higher.
Yes, I thought you would have the Atom a lot higher. I figured at least your 3, 2, 1 were gonna be the same, like interchangeable with the Trinity. I figured that much.
That's right. The reason those characters were 8, 9, and 10 were because of when they joined. Though Adam joined was the 9th member, not the 10th. I put Hawkman in because Hawkman was just so dynamic,
right,
of a looking character, and the Atom was a smaller guy that shrunk down. And when you look at his
own verse, though, like that's why I kind of figured he'd be.
All right. When you looked at all the covers, when you see all the great Justice League covers, the Atom's not featured as prominently as Hawkman has been over the years because the character
is just like a pencil that got pushed a little bit.
Yeah. There's a couple where he's giant size, right? Mm-hmm. All the others are small, but usually Hawkman is just such a more dynamic character to draw and to visually see. So that's why he's so of the first 10, I've got the original 7 Leaguers, and then then Green Arrow was added into 4, Atom in 16, and Hawkman in 31. So it was just Atom and Hawkman that I swapped a little bit, and it's just because of the dynamic nature of those characters. But it could have gone either way. Yeah,
like I said, you even said earlier, you went more historic, where I went who should be and who is more dynamic in the Justice League for me.
Right.
So is there one that you were shocked with I picked?
Give me your whole list again, because I'm focusing on one, but I want to make sure I don't miss another.
All right. So my list went at 10, I had Firestorm. 9 was Wonder Woman, 8 was Shazam, 7 was Green Arrow, 6 was Martian Manhunter, 5 was Barry, 4 was Red Tornado, 3 was Hale, 2 was Superman, number 1 was Dick Grayson.
Okay, so the one I'm happiest you put on your list is Red Tornado.
Okay.
I'm very happy you had Red Tornado on that list. I think he's fantastic.
Yes.
I'm happy you had Firestorm too. I really am. Because you got some, because I didn't have a lot of the later guys that added because I was doing that more historical list. So I'm happy you gave them love. But the one that surprised me the most was your addition of Dick Grayson as Batman. I think that was a surprise. That was a total curveball you threw in there. I think it's valid. I think he's a great choice considering what he's doing now in the DCU, where he's the Titans are basically the Justice League at this point. So the Justice League will come back at some point.
Oh yeah, they're going to be the originals again. Yeah, can we all agree that Cyborg should not be on any list?
Cyborg should be a Teen Titan.
Yeah, 100%. But like Justice League iteration, he should just be a Teen Titan.
Yeah, he's a great Teen Titan, or not even a Teen Titan, a Titan. He's a great Titan. He's not teen right now, but that's his roots. That's where he's at. But I think Dick Grayson is a great choice just because it is such a natural leader, and I think that was the biggest surprise that you used Grayson in the Batman role there.
Yeah, and my biggest reason was Tower of Babel to me, because if you think about looking from a league standpoint, I would not want that guy on my team. He is not very well with others. He does not, and I love Batman. Don't get me wrong. I'm wearing
I do too. Yeah,
right now, but to me, Batman you can't trust.
I would have voted with Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Plastic Man.
Yeah,
get him out of here. And that's what they argued. I can't trust you.
Yeah, and it just comes down to
Plastic Man didn't even argue. He says, "Get him out of here." Yeah. Wonder Woman, Aquaman just said, this is garbage. We're teammates, and this is how you're treating us. I can't go into battle trusting you like this. And that's exactly how I would have felt. You got to go, man. Hit the bricks. Yeah. Superman did it. I know Superman voted against him, but I think Superman did it thinking, as he was right, that it would be more of a temporary thing.
Yeah.
That he would bring him back, but that it had to happen for now. But Aquaman and Plastic Man and Wonder Woman were like, I can't work with this guy.
No, and that was my main thing is like, when you think about it and you think about the character of Batman, to me, it was like, keep him in Gotham, keep him fighting his rogues that he always fights. You're fighting with gods. Your arms are too short to box God.
Yeah.
But
it's his mind. It's his mind that takes him to the next level.
His mind is also dangerous. And I think back to Year of the Villain, when they were fighting the Totality the first time. When they fought the Totality, he got smacked and was in a bodysuit for 40-something issues.
Right.
Because he was useless. And he even said, he goes, I can't do anything. I can just tell you guys to go. I can give you an idea, but I can't do anything else.
Right.
And Jarro did more than he did. That's why I love Jarro so much. But yeah, to me, it's okay. If you got stipulations or you got these what do you call it, contingencies set in place for the members' turn, what makes anyone think that if you turned, you wouldn't use it on them?
Right.
And to me, that's why he doesn't belong on my list.
Well, trust is important. Trust is important. I mean, I wasn't as much surprised that Batman wasn't on your list. I was just more surprised that you had Dick Grayson on your list, because he's not what you think of when you think of the traditional team, but he's a great choice, and he was the leader of the team for a while.
Yeah.
And it was a great run on that. So I think that's fun. I think I think you're putting a nice, like I said, it was a curveball. I think it's great. I like it. And I've got no problem with it, but it just shows we are we're made to have different opinions on things. And I am going to always approach things from a more of a historical perspective.
Yeah, where I'm going to take and be creative and throw that curveball in there on everybody. I do it on Comic Character of the Week all the time.
Well, and it's just part of the great thing that both ways are valid.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why I wanted this team to happen on this first episode.
JLA is my favorite team. My favorite book I mean, my first book, as we've discussed here,
Yes.
it's my origin book. That's my Genesis book. Justice League 111, Beat to Hell.
I feel like that is like never not by your side.
It's close. I usually keep it here. You know, that and Vegetable Lover. You want to see that?
Yeah. Yeah, I got the message for that one.
Yeah, I know you did. But this is my baby, and this isn't worth anything. It's Beat to Hell, but
No,
it's worth nothing, but it's worth everything.
to you.
It's my very first book.
Yes.
So, and I still have it.
And that's a proud
Oh yeah.
moment to have in time. Like, do you even remember that? Because when Dan did the interview with me, I can't remember the first book, but I can remember the first series. My first book's always iffy. There's 2 times I remember, and you guys can watch it when he does the interview with me.
Okay.
Which will be out soon because they did the interview with you, and it was basically the same questions.
Right.
So,
and it should be. I think that's great to hit everybody with the same questions.
Yeah. But I think that's a great place to stop for this episode. I think we did an amazing job for our top 10s, respectfully. But guys, if you want to see more content of the top 10 episodes like this, make sure you become a member, and make sure you guys check out everything else we got, because there's going to be a bunch of different shows for members only. These episodes will come out later for the public at a much later time. But as right now, this is your taste. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys become members. And Uncle Gary, I think there's something we want to give them too.
Oh man, I've told you all this before. At the Codex station, all of the hosts here, we have all the socials, and we would like nothing more than to give them to you.
Yes, and you can find us at the Codex Station everywhere. And if you have trouble remembering that, all you have to do is go to thecodexstation.com, get some merch, meet the team, let us know what you like and don't like, and find all of our socials at the bottom. So that way you guys don't miss out on any more of the content or the membership episodes we're going to be doing. Plus, we're going to have a game show. It's going to be amazing.
Wow.
So be ready for that. I'll give that little hint right now for you guys too. But Uncle Gary, tell them, one of our sponsors for today, that you are proud co-owner of.
Oh, well, that would be Comic Logic. We are Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. I'm one of a team of there's about 5 of us co-owners of this, and I am proud to be one of those members. We are Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. So if you're in the Northern Virginia area, please come in and please come see us. We have 3 events I want to tell you about that are coming up. We have our 9th anniversary on April 20th. So please come in, say hi. We'll probably have some cake, some refreshments, and we want to, thank you for patronizing our store and being a customer. And if you're somebody new, we want to say hello to you and welcome you into the fold too. Our really big event coming up is on Free Comic Book Day, which is May the 4th. This year, May the 4th coincides with Star Wars Day. So to honor that wonderful juxtaposition of 2 great things, we are having Mr. Brandon Wayne signing autographs there. He plays the Mandalorian when the helmet is on. He's the one that's doing all the acting, and so you can meet the man inside the Mandalorian armor. And he's also Hollywood royalty. He's John Wayne's grandson. So he's scheduled to take a tour here of the Library of Comics, and I'm going to be really excited to have John Wayne's grandson here, because I'm about the Duke, man. The Duke is my guy. So to have his grandson here is gonna be a big thrill. Our last event I want to tell you about is on Sunday, May 19th. Is our spring LotCon. We have LotCon in the fall, one in the spring, and we turn our parking lot into a mini Comic Con. There'll be comic vendors. There will be local authors selling their wares. There'll be toys. So there'll be a whole wonderful litany of booths for you to visit and have fun with, and bring your families. It's very family friendly. You will see all the great Comic Logic folks walking around. I'll be there. And at the Fall LotCon, we had Dan Kelly and we had Sal, the Slab guy from the Codex station there. So you may meet some Codex team members there. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you to come on by, say hi. We would love to have you there. So thank you, and hopefully we'll get to meet your acquaintance. And we at Comic Logic are proud to sponsor this wonderful channel, the Codex Station.
Yes. Guys, thank you again for tuning in to this episode, and thank you for any future members this might bring. We are going to be doing these every Friday. So you guys, if you guys are members, you're going to have first crack at these for at least, good 3 months before they're released to the public. So you guys will have these episodes and more episodes of different shows that we're not going to put out right away. So guys, make sure you guys get a membership. And I gotta tell you guys, I love every single one of you for getting us to where we are today. Everyone on this team loves everybody in the community, and we just want to say thank you. And as always, I'm Gary. We'll see him in the next one.
Absolutely. See ya.